My biggest problem with online study advice is that creators tend to overcomplicate what is really a fairly simple process of studying. They promise all these revolutionary techniques which will transform your learning overnight and turn you into a top 1% learner easily. But this really isn't the case. And this means that you're going to waste precious time trying to uncover these magical silver bullets which will somehow solve all of your problems immediately, when in reality most of the top learners just simply get their results through mastering the basics. So what I've done is created a framework that shows you the exact steps you need to take to create a personalized evidence-based study system, no matter whether this is the first video you've ever watched on how to study smarter or if you already consider yourself an academic high achiever. Why should you listen to me? Well, my name's Harry, and I graduated high school in 2024 with an ATAR of 99.0, which places me in the top 1% of all students in Australia, whilst also coming 17th in biology in New South Wales out of almost 20,000 students. This video will give you everything you need to know on how to get started creating a study system that's going to work for you, but it's just going to be an introductory video because there's so much to talk about, and I'm going to be creating videos over the next coming months which are going to go into more and more detail, which are going to show you exactly how to adapt and refine and update this study system that you'll be creating. So the very first step of the framework is step 1, get organized. And I know this sounds simple, but the idea of the framework is we got to start crawling before we can walk, before we can finally move on to running. And getting organized is quite simply just a crucial step of the framework, and if you don't get this right, nothing else will work for you. That's the unfortunate truth. So this is why step 1, get organized, the most important part of the framework. And getting organized simply means finding somewhere to capture and then organize all the tasks you need to get done. And this can be quite a simple process, but it just needs to be a system that is both all-inclusive while also being simple enough to use that it just becomes second nature. So to put it simply, step 1 is all about knowing what tasks need to be completed and knowing that you have time to complete all those tasks. That's it. All good organization systems can be boiled down into 2 simple steps. First, a to-do list, which is where you capture all the tasks you need to get done, and then a calendar, where you block out all the events that you have and then also plan when you're going to complete each of those tasks. I'll go into more detail in future videos about the best possible organization systems you can create, but for now, the focus is just on having something that's simple, such as using free softwares like Google Calendar and then either app or reminders or a free to-do app like Todoist. That will suffice for now. At this stage, the goal of getting organized is to be consistent and to build up the skill of using a calendar and a to-do app so you don't have to focus on remembering everything inside your head. You can have it there, so it's something to rely on, you don't have to worry about forgetting things. And so now, it's time to move on to step 2, which is get planning. In step 1, we figured out all the tasks we need to get completed and we know what time we have to complete them in. Step 2 is now about figuring which order should we complete tasks in and when should we fill all of our spots. As you can see, planning is impossible without being organized first, so this is why I'd recommend that you go through the steps in order rather than jumping around. Now, there are a few things that you should focus on when planning. First, you should go through and provide an estimation for each task on how long you think it's going to take you to complete. And the reason we do this is so we can get more done in a single day. If we know how long we're expecting each task to take us, we're going to be able to do a better job of allocating tasks to different points throughout the days and knowing how many tasks we should be able to tick off during a day. It's also going to allow you to avoid Parkinson's law, which is the idea that tasks will expand to fill the time they're allocated for. This is the idea that if you give a task an hour to get completed, you're going to get it done in an hour. But if you give it half an hour or less time even, you'll be able to get it done a lot quicker than if you had just given it an hour. Second, you should try ordering your tasks based on how urgent and how important they are. You should focus on trying to get as many important tasks done during a day, which are going to help you achieve your goals better, or minimizing the time you spend on tasks that are just urgent without really being important. For these unimportant tasks that you still need to get done, you should either try and minimize the amount of time you spend on them, or allocate them to less productive times, such as right before you go to bed. The goal should be to try and minimize the amount of time that you allocate to these unimportant tasks that still need to get done because they're urgent. And the way that you can do this is by either minimizing the amount of time that you allocate to them, or by scheduling them at times that you're less productive, such as right when you wake up or right before you go to bed. You should be saving those times that you're most productive for the tasks that are most important and are going to have the biggest determining factor on whether you succeed in your goals or not. Now we can move on to step 3, which is get going. In step 3, get going, now that you've got a list of all the tasks you need to get done and a plan for how you're going to get all of them done, it's time to put your head down and do the trench work. Now there is so much to talk about on this front, so I'll be dedicating a lot of my videos to step 3, but I'll leave you with 3 key objectives to focus on for now. Step 1 is getting started and overcoming procrastination, which I find to be one of the biggest hurdles for most students, including myself. Step 2 is keeping yourself in that flow state by avoiding distractions, and step 3 is how to take effective breaks which effectively rejuvenate you while making it easy to get back into your work once you're done. Step 4 is the most simple step of the framework, and it's don't stop. Consistency is the most powerful tool we have as students, because no matter what techniques you used, being ruthlessly consistent will get you 90% of the way there most of the time. And so that's why if we can make sure that we do not give up and we keep persisting with these techniques, you will very likely succeed and become one of those top learners that you always aspire to be. That said, consistency is one of the hardest things to achieve in any area of life, so I do have heaps of tips here to help you. So step 5, get smart, is sort of an additional step, because you don't necessarily need it to achieve incredible results, as building a study system based just on those first 4 principles will absolutely be enough to get you to pretty much any results you want. This step is essentially going to be designed just to make it a little bit easier. Step 5 is really about achieving those extra final few marks that might be inaccessible if you just use the regular study techniques that everyone uses, but the main reason we do it is to dramatically reduce the amount of time you need to study for. The efficiency gains you can get from incorporating some of these techniques is unimaginable, really. Now, there's a reason that I've left this step to last, and that's because many students significantly overestimate the value of having these advanced study techniques. And while it can be really helpful, I'd argue that you could be massively capped no matter what study techniques you use, no matter how effective they are, if you miss any of the first 4 steps. Now, I know a lot of you will want to skip past the first couple steps and go straight to step 5 and start incorporating some of these really flashy study techniques, but I highly recommend you don't do this. The most important message I can give you is that academic success is built on doing the basics right. You do not need to go and try and spend hours finding all these secret study techniques that'll set you apart from the 99%. Just experiment, find what works, and stick to it. Now, as I said before, over the coming months I'll be creating many more videos on this framework, but if you've got any video suggestions or any requests, let me know in the comments below. Until then, see you later.